Battleline podcast. And if you're listening to this the day that it's released, it is July 4th, the 4th
Yeah,
of July,
it is.
Independence Day. Uh, I hope that you're enjoying your 4th of July, even if you're here listening to us, that you're out barbecuing and having fun with friends and all that other
Yeah.
good stuff.
Well, yeah, and listen to it in the morning or drink some Tonto vodka while you're listening to it. So every time we say, should we do a keyword or something? If we say, I can't remember. There
You,
used
you say brother a lot, and
if we
brother.
every time I say brother, have a drink. Let's do that.
That's the
Me-
first one I would think of because you even said you're like I'm like Hulk Hogan.
I do. I like brother. I do. I say it 8 million times. Okay, every time I say brother, you have to take a drink of Tonto vodka. There you go. There we go. Awesome.
Well, with that, like I said, hope you guys are enjoying your fourth. And I have to say, going a little bit off script here, I'm so glad that we're sponsored by
Yeah.
companies in the supplement industry who truly do have full transparency. Because I follow a lot of stuff in the supplement industry on YouTube, and I've seen in the past few weeks there's been this controversy among the supplement industry with this supplement called turkesterone. And basically, a lot of companies are putting this out and they don't do any lab testing. And actually, this company called Nootropics Depot did their own
Wow.
independent lab testing, and they found out a lot of these big influencers selling this stuff saying it's great, it works, that it's barely in there. I'm just so glad we're working with companies like Ned who actually make sure
Yeah.
that their products are what they say they are and have like a great relationship with actually their one grower of hemp.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ned has definitely become a part of my daily ritual, really my nightly ritual, because I fall asleep after taking it, quite honestly. I can't do the daytime like some people. But a ritual is a daily practice that helps you stay grounded. It's an intentional act where you take a few minutes to reconnect with and take care of yourself. Daily routines are mundane and make you feel stuck in a rut. Daily rituals are meaningful and help you become the person you want to be. Transforming your life can be as simple as bringing more attention to the things you do every day. So, as they say here, get present, slow down, and check in with your five senses. Think positive, take a deep breath, and say affirmations, and then connect with your North Star, smile, and think about what really matters. These products, as I said, are science backed, they're nature based solutions that offer an alternative to prescription and over the counter drugs. Ned CBD is cold extracted from the world's purest USDA certified organic hemp in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And yeah, that really is it. I mean, their products have
Yeah.
2,000 5-star reviews, and we've both used them now for years now.
And that's the other thing, at least on this podcast, we don't push anything that we don't use and haven't used now. Gosh, now going on a couple of years for both Ned and
Yeah,
then
going on
also,
more.
yeah, also with Bubs Naturals as well. So we both promote the product because it works, and the anti-inflammatory the anti-inflammatory
Properties.
benefits, properties that you get from it are tremendous, and anti-anxiety for anybody that suffers from post-traumatic stress. It works tremendous. I use it every day. And then the new stuff that came out, the balm, the new sore muscle balm. What's that, man? I even got it up there on the shelf. It just all works, and I'm in testament to it. I just got done training at the range for 2 hours, running hills for 2 hours, and shooting. I couldn't do that at 51 if I didn't have Ned, and the way it's helped me just handle with my ulcerative colitis, and also just the inflammation in my joints that's gone away with it. So
Absolutely.
tremendous stuff.
Yeah,
Perfect.
check it out, guys. Go to helloned.com/battleline or enter the code battleline at checkout. And if you're a new customer, you're going to get
Yeah.
15% off. That's HELLONED.com/battleline for 15% off. Thank you, Ned, for sponsoring the show and offering our listeners a natural remedy for some of life's most common health issues. Also on this show, as we were just talking about, Bubs Naturals, the best collagen protein
Right.
out there, apple cider vinegar gummies, MCT oil powder, and once again, full transparency with them, single sourced, no blending of ingredients, and it's something that both of us use after our
Yeah.
workouts and every day.
And the MCT oil as a pre-workout, guys, it is awesome. Get you going, get you motivated. If you're not already motivated, get to the gym or do whatever you're doing, go for a run. And it tastes good. It's honestly better than any powdered creamer you're going to throw in your coffee. I'm drinking it right now, drinking also the collagen protein and the MCT oil. So guys, Bubs is tremendous. Another company that we've been for 2 years. Both of us have been using for 2 years, and we've seen the benefits. with no negative side effects from either Ned or Bubs. And honestly, it's the only thing being an inflammatory bowel disease, have her for years. It's the only protein or any supplement I've ever been able to take that has not upset my stomach. And it's just, it's tremendous, man. And then also giving back to Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. That's just the icing on the cake.
Absolutely. Check it out, guys. And yeah, as for me, I've actually been using it for way more because I met Sean
That's
many
right.
years
Yeah.
ago at this point. So I've been using it the entire time, even before they were a sponsor of this show. It's something I believe in, regardless of if they continue as a sponsor. I'm going to use it. So bubsnaturals.com, promo code Battleline for 20% off. Bubsnaturals.com, promo code Battleline for 20% off.
From Omaha, Nebraska to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Switch is on, motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
You know, Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battleline podcast.
The switch is on. Battleline podcast got plenty of stuff to get into before we get to John Keys from Guns Out TV, a guy that both of us got to spend plenty of time with just a couple of months ago. But before we get into that, this is a big article, and I'm sure people want to hear your opinion on it. And that is, of course, Army eases tattoo restrictions with new policy. And I mean, needless to say, the reason they're doing this, though, is that they're suffering from low recruitment.
That has nothing to do with recruitment. You got, oh my goodness. When you're putting critical race theory and you're doing all the wokeness into the military, you're going to see it suffer. I'm sorry, the tattoo has nothing to do with it. Now, I'm not a big proponent of having tattoos before you go in. All the tattoos that I've gotten have been when I was in because they meant something.
And I mean, you don't have anything that you could
this is the only
circumstance.
thing that you can really see. But I do have a lot of tattoos all over me.
Yeah, but you don't have hands. You don't have neck.
You're right.
And that's what they're saying. So.
And that's not why you're suffering as far as recruiting goes. And Big Army and whoever the Army recruiting commit guys, figure it out. All right, we embraced diversity before all this wokeness came in. We had none of that in there because we didn't need it. When you came in the military, you were a Ranger, you were a soldier, you were a SEAL. We didn't care if you were black, white, yellow, green. It makes no difference. But now that they put that to the forefront, that's why it's suffering. That's why it's suffering. You're because of all your wokeness going on. These tattoos have nothing to do with it. So, I don't have a problem with people having tattoos. Yes, gang-related tattoos. Facial tattoos, you're going a little overboard, a little narcissistic there, guys, for that one. But honestly, guys, I do believe if you're a youngster going in, that you really get your tattoos when you're there, when they mean something. Every tattoo that I have I got after I accomplished something, whether it was Ranger School, whether it was getting out of Kandahar, which is that big one on my back, whether it was.
Wait, can I jump in? So am I an idiot for having a Dr. Feelgood tattoo?
Well, if you're joining the military, man, no, but it meant something to.
Oh yeah,
yeah. A lot of these. What does that mean? A tattoo on your neck? I mean, all I'm saying is if you are joining the military, get it when you're there. I mean, that's what all these tattoos. This one meant something after I left Mosul. I was like, man, that was a hairy little. I need something, and the cross meant something to me. And then this, when my kids were born, why I was in the
Are
military.
you
To be
are you gonna
honest.
take your shirt off
No,
during the
I'm
show?
not. No, I'm. Do I
Increase
look?
viewership? Come on,
Do
go.
I look like Rudy Reyes or Matt Best? No, I don't do that. Come on, not anymore. Hey, so hold on a second. I gotta.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
your thing. Do your thing. Because
gosh,
I'm
dang
gonna
it.
give. This is fine, man. I'm gonna give a different perspective on this, and you'll be able to jump in here as you're
All right,
saying it.
hold on.
But I
I
think
gotta go grab little.
yeah, look, I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk. So
What's up,
I,
Pinochle?
I would probably say I have a little bit of a different perspective than Chris, but you got to keep in mind I also have never served, and I think that what he's saying that it may be a factor into why they're seeing low recruitment. But what I think is look at the amount of guys that we've interviewed on this podcast. And there's a ton of guys who said, and GWAT veterans in particular, right? And OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom veterans who said, yeah, I saw the towers come down on 9/11, either in New York or I watched it on TV. And at that moment, they said, I'm jumping in here. I feel the need to serve my country. And by the way, I hear Chris in the background of the sun. But I think that there was a real need for guys to go out there and serve their country during this time. So I think that's why a lot of guys decided to jump in there and serve during the war on terror. And I don't think you're going to see. I'm in the middle of talking here.
I mean, we could actually put it in there. I actually
How
had.
come as I'm talking, you have to start yelling? I'm trying to fill space here, dude.
I'm sorry, man. He
Yeah,
had my little boy. I had to
it's
wipe his
fine.
butt. I had to wipe his
I think
butt.
people are listening to my points here, so I'll reiterate what I'm saying. I do have a different perspective than you on this. I think what you say is a factor, but as I was saying, and as the audience heard, I think the number one reason you're seeing low recruitment, and look, this has come from someone who didn't serve, but I do have a perspective from the amount of guys you and I have interviewed. And I said, how many OIF veterans and GWAT veterans have we interviewed? And we said, what made you join? They said, I saw those towers fall down, either watching on TV or they lived in New York. And they said, I went to the nearest recruitment station and I wanted to serve my country. There's no real event happening right now. I don't think guys are going, what's happening in Ukraine, I got to go serve. There's just not an event like, and also a lot of guys have come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. Guys we've had on this show in particular. I know John Burke has said it. I know Adam Kokesh has said it, and they feel like we were there for a while. There were no weapons of mass destruction that were found, and this patriotism that they felt is kind of not there on that sense of feeling like we needed to be there, because you've said it yourself, like in Benghazi, we destabilized the country. The country's in worse shape now. And I think
And
that
that happened a lot. Looking back in all the countries I've been to, I mean, that was the
that's what I
common
mean.
theme. Yeah.
I think because I remember 2001, 2002, there was just this strong feeling among the country of we got to get in there. And you do not have that anymore. And I think more guys are like, what am I serving for?
Well, I joined. I joined during peacetime, so I have a kind of a view of that when guys were joining, and we didn't have a recruiting issue then. You hit the nail on the head though when you said patriotism. There isn't strong patriotism anymore, and that has something to say because of the military leadership not facilitating patriotism and unity. There, as much as they'd like to say, "Oh, unity," critical race theory wokeness do not promote unity. You're looking at one area that you think is being shunned, which again, in the military, I have served with all ethnicities. I've served with all colors. And that's the biggest thing when you go into basic training. It's why they shave your head. It's why they treat everybody. You are everybody like a piece of shit. You doesn't matter who you are. You're all a piece of shit. It's because they're trying to break of all that. They don't want any of that in there. They want, you are now a soldier. You are now an airman. You are, and the patriotism is part of that. It's like, hey, we're serving our country for everyone, and that's not there either. But so the wars, I agree with you on the wars because I did join it during that time as well. But I also understand that when I did join, when it was during the peacetime in '95, that we didn't have any problems with recruiting then because there was that sense of patriotism still that we were serving our country, whether we're going to war or not. So,
but could there be people right now? Because I think there could be people. And by the way, people are probably gonna say the vaccine that may have to do with it. But then I think there's probably people saying, if I join, there's a possibility I may go over to Ukraine. And do I really believe in this
and
fight?
believe
I think there's some of that.
and that has a lot to do with leadership up in the top and foreign policy, and that's terrible right now. Which again, we have terrible leadership. We have terrible people in charge of the military. They're doing these silly rules with tattoos. Who gives a crap? Honestly, unless it's gang related, which it's always been that way. That if you had anything gang related, you weren't going to be able to get in.
Yeah,
This
but
is
now
no
it's less
different.
restrictive. So
Well,
it's
so now we want. Well, I'm not going to say that we didn't have gangsters in the military either during my. We did. That's sometimes that was the option from the judge. You go to jail, you go to the army.
yeah.
Remember, I don't know if people remember those good old days, but that kind of worked at times. And sometimes that's what you need guys to get on the right track. But that being said, brother, I really do feel when we do agree on this that the patriotism isn't there, and if it takes a war where we're attacked to bring that patriotism up, well, that's how it is. That's so be it. I guess that's a method. That's a way to get people to join. But I don't think that's what we want to rely on. We want to bring back unity in the military, which was the old school way of doing things, which you didn't mean shit. Nobody did when you joined. And then based off performance, that's when you started to move up in the ranks. And it's not because of what color you were, religion. It had no difference. It was how are you doing today as far as performance, not just individual performance, but as a leader and as a team member. And we don't see that. That's not there. I mean, we could have talked about today because a big article about critical race theory at West Point. Again, why do you think you're not meeting your numbers, idiots? Because you're promoting all this, and this does not promote unity. This does not promote great diversity. We already had that in the military. This promotes political endeavors and political politics. And I'm sorry to say, I know people in DC think we're a bunch of idiots. We're not. People see that. And I agree. I do agree with you at this point, though.
And I agree with your point too. I think my point was there's another big factor.
And there, no, you're right. No, you're right.
Wars.
You're right. And I just I would hate to rely on us getting attacked to bring the recruiting numbers up or but are we at that point that that's what's going to take? And that's not a good answer either, but is it a possibility? Yeah, it is a possibility. But I'm with you on the Ukraine either. I'm not. People that ask me if I should join, I get asked a lot. I do. I get letters. I get emails. Hey, my son wants to join. What should I tell him? Hey, my son's in. The morale is terrible. I just got a letter from 2 weeks ago. The morale is terrible. In all this wokeness, my son is having issues now if he should even join. What do you tell them? Well, the people that are going in, I still tell them that want to join. In fact, I'm working with 2 kids here in Fort Scott right now. Oh, nice. One wants to go to West Point. The other one wants to join Option 40 and be a Ranger. And I'm telling them it's still the most honorable thing you can do. It's a great life-changing experience. It is. I said, you just have to be wary of all the politics that are part of it and just push that away. Just work on your team, work on your skill set. And you are doing this for your country, but you're doing it for that team, your brotherhood, your unit. I said, that's what you got to focus on. And the people that are already in and that are asking, hey, what do I do? You know what? This is the great time if you're in to excel, because all these people over here are complaining how they're not being fairly treated because of race, ethnicity, so forth. Do what we used to do in the past. We turned it off and we just worked harder. I went and trained more. I focused more on leadership. I studied more. All that bullshit, while they're doing that, I'm out there getting better. And that's what I tell people. That's what I tell these kids now. It's like, don't worry about it. Let those people complain. You just focus on your task. So when your commander says, hey, I need somebody to do this mission, I'm using that guy or I'm using that girl. Again, guy is a gender neutral term on Battleline podcast. We've said 8 million times. But brother, as far as recruiting goes, until they get back to that, just for the military, and I love that Air Force commercial. That was awesome, where you've got the Air Force commanding general of the Air Force, and he's African American, and who gives a shit? He just says, "Hey, doesn't matter if I'm black, white, yellow, whatever." He goes, "I'm an American airman coming to kick your ass." That's how it used to be, and that's how the recruiting needs to get back to fill those slots, or like you said, have another war.
Which I'm obviously not advocating for.
Of course,
but I also just think a lot of people, there has to be the purpose there, and actually, it wouldn't help if we got into another war, if this war is the war with Russia and Ukraine, because my point is, people would be way more motivated to join after the towers are hit, as opposed to what's going on over there. Just, I think if you get a popular opinion, that's how people would feel. I'll also steal something Rob O'Neill said, because I thought it was funny, and I saw it was going around, was that, in the Navy, at least for him, you don't really need pronouns. It's just everybody's shipmate. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, whatever you are. But I want to make sure we hit this as well.
Yeah. No,
We're going to
go
have to get to John, and I don't want to not mention this. So the last surviving World War II Medal of Honor recipient has died at the age of 98. Herschel W. Woody Williams, the last remaining Medal of Honor recipient from World War II, died on Wednesday. He was 98. The Williams Foundation announced on Twitter and Facebook that he died at the Veteran Affairs Medical Center bearing his name in Huntington. As a young Marine corporal, Williams went ahead of his unit during the Battle of Iwo Jima in the Pacific Ocean in February 1945 and eliminated a series of Japanese machine gun positions. This goes on and on, and we have limited time because we got to get to John. But I wanted to at least mention that because, man, we are losing so many of these guys. And I'm guessing, your youngest kid is probably not met a World War II veteran and never will because we're losing Medal of Honor recipients like Woody.
Well, that's why these stories are important. That's why the articles are important. That's why the books about the greatest generation of World War II and the Battle of the Stone and also Normandy beach landings. That's why that is so important to have out there. So our kids and can read about it and read about the greatest generation, which I still honestly believe they were by far. And talk about patriotism. I mean, this kind of flows into that. Talk the most patriotic, I think, generation of American history. I mean, there's an argument with, of course, the Revolutionary War and fighting the British, but those guys were amazing, and they did more with less. That's what was so awesome. Yep. And it was just, hey, you got to get it done. Go get it done. And I'm sure there was bitching behind the scenes because that's what you do. You bitch with your buddies. I can't think of one time being at Ranger Regiment or being at 19th Special Forces or even being a contractor, getting an op and saying, well, you even see it in 13 hours. I did that all the time. Oh, we got an op we got to do right now. Oh, this sucks. But when it came down to it, we got it done. And where did we learn that from? It was from guys like that. It's like, shit, I'm going to play Halo, right? I'm playing Call of Duty, drinking a pop, and I got to fucking go on a mission tonight. These guys were, out in the Pacific or out in the Atlantic or landing on a beach getting shelled at. And maybe they bitched, but they did it anyway. Those guys were amazing, man. And kudos to him. God bless him. I know he's going to go straight to heaven without any questions asked. He's going to be in there. And those guys deserve all the respect that we can give them and even more. So, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw one of our guests, Dave Bray, got to take a picture with him. That was cool. Pretty cool. So you check that out on Instagram at Dave Bray USA. With that, Fort Scott Munitions, actually at Fort Scott is where we met John Keys. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll talk about that copper ticket giveaway. Fort Scott is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition that is designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with every pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states. You just got to go to the dealer locator on the website. You type in your zip code. You're going to find somewhere by you. You're pointing at it right there. Yeah. Actually, I still use this as the mouse pad.
Oh, I love that thing. Yeah, it works just as well as a cleaning pad or the mouse pad. And
it's a giant mouse pad for me. But and you could. The website is so easy to get now. So it's just fsm.com. It's as simple as that. You don't even have to spell munitions. fsm.com. Use the exclusive promo code Battleline, and you're gonna get 15% off your order. Only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. So fsm.com, promo code Battleline. Fort Scott is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. Also, you could find there Photonus Defense. And originally, I believe you were able to use that promo code to get 15% off. And then sent it to Ryan. I was like, wow, this is an awesome discount. And he's like, hold up, I don't think that's supposed to be there.
Well,
So
you CC'd Phil Otto, who works at Photonis Defense, and
yeah.
he's like, "Wow, that is a great deal." I mean, chicken. But you know, and also I don't. Can they not do that now? I think
I think you could use the promo code and you're gonna get something off, but I don't think it's 15%.
Yeah,
That's
because
a lot.
15%, that's a lot. Yeah, off thousands of dollars for night vision. Yeah.
Yeah, because Photonis Defense, look, it is a more expensive product, but it's a high quality product that's life or death in those scenarios that were really, this is what you're going to want to use. So
Yeah.
now you can have the superpower to see in the dark with the Viper binocular night vision system by
Wow.
Photonis Defense, which is the global leader in night vision solutions, providing more high quality night vision capabilities than anyone. Military, law enforcement, and public safety end users utilize Photonis Defense solutions to give them the edge at night in tactical situations and rescue operations. Hunters, shooters, boaters, and enthusiasts can rely on the Photonis Defense Viper binocular to help them master the darkness, which is their trademark. They've trademarked Master the Darkness, which is it's a cool slogan there. The new Viper binocular system carries the same features and benefits as the Photonis Defense Viper binocular with a ruggedized body and harnesses the power of the Echo intensifier tubes, giving you sharper images, reduced halo, and industry-leading ultra-fast auto gating across the range of dynamic operating conditions. This is something you use all the time.
And what that means, it just means that you can actually see better in the dark than with any other night vision out there. And you and I both did the little test at SHOT Show, and it literally is night and day, guys. The stuff is the best in the world. There's nothing comparable to Photonis Defense. So if you're military or you're in the purchasing department within your law enforcement, or guys, you got to switch to this stuff. You're giving your team the best chance for success, and that means coming home alive. So guys, you're really missing the boat if you're not looking at Photonis Defense. And if you're a hunter and a very avid hunter, especially hog hunting at night and coyote hunting at night, there's nothing better out there. If you just ask the guys at Fort Scott Munitions. That's what they use theirs for, is for hunting. And it's 100-yard sniper. Ryan Kraft will post stuff on that and you'll see the difference. So it's tremendous stuff. You can't go wrong with it, guys. Photonis Defense, best night vision in the business by far.
Yep. Yeah. So it's photonisdefense.com. They're also finally on Instagram. You can follow them on Instagram.
Finally.
Photonisdefense.com for more information, or look for Photonis Defense product options from your night vision dealer. Just to spell it out for you guys just listening, PHOTONIS defense.com, photonisdefense.com. I mean, and you do have a good setup, but actually, before I intro you, Chris was asking. He's like, "How come Sure Michael?"
What is Sure Michael doing another recording today? Is he on the channel that shall not be named?
The channel that shall not be named, about the stuff that's going on in the past few weeks.
Are they still?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You know what I'd love to put? There's that picture of when we got attacked, of the Ansar Sharia fighter in the white T-shirt holding the AK-47. And when after they took over the consulate, and putting the guy for the January 6th in the horns, the idiot, and saying, "Hey, really, who really got attacked should be complaining about being left behind?" That, and I'm putting that guy there with the AK-47, with the ambassador's villa in the background burning, and that guy standing at the podium with his little. Should
we keep this in here? By the way,
definitely.
That is too funny. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we're keeping it in. So, you're hearing a little behind the scenes before I give an intro. What were you saying? Because
if I was any good at building any of that shit, I do it myself. I just suck at all that technology. But I was like, man, that would be perfect, because that was a very iconic scene during the Benghazi attack,
right?
With the guy, and it's actually in the book. They put it in there third. But then the iconic with the idiot that has the
insurrectionist.
The insurrect. So maybe if I can find somebody that can do it for me, I'll ask Jeremy Mitchell. We'll ask Jeremy. Jeremy, the smartest.
Dude, you can find somebody on Fiverr. You'll find somebody on Fiverr.
We'll find somebody.
That's true. Our intro is done on Fiverr, and the intro came out.
Dude, Fiverr's the best kept secret in the world, man. I'm just telling you right now. You can pay for anything on Fiverr, I think.
No shit.
Yeah, there's
No,
it's
it's
like
true. I do
Fiverr and
voiceover on Fiverr.
OnlyFans. Those two places you can pretty much pay for anything.
I'm learning. See, I'm still learning. Actually, Ian, you got this. I don't want to learn any more stuff. I'm too old to be learning stuff. Just I'll let somebody else do
Hey, man, I
it.
think a lot of people are in learning overload right now, man, because we just have too much information readily
Yeah.
available 24/7. A lot of it is not for the greater good anyway. So it's just like
Yeah.
information
I,
overload.
True.
I agree
Well,
with
I'm
that.
going to give John an actual intro,
Yeah. Okay.
for
Sorry.
the people
Sorry.
listening so that
Cheers.
people at least know what we're talking about and who we're talking to. So John Keys was actually I have it right here, the Copper Ticket event. I got the Copper Ticket right
Yeah.
there.
I got mine
That's where I met
somewhere.
him. And yeah, John is the co-owner and co-host of Guns Out TV with Michael, and is a Marine Corps veteran. Also, I learned just from your Instagram, you're also the owner of Express Ball, which is a high stake 5-frame interactive bowling.
Oh
So
yeah.
maybe we'll get into that a little bit.
Okay.
But
Whoa.
the Guns Out TV, the thing I'll say, and we'll get into your backstory, but I mean the production value is incredible. There's so many different gun channels on YouTube doing similar stuff as you, but you guys really put a lot into your production, and I think that's what stands out about it.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate that. And I mean, I got to be honest with you. I think that being on TV in the very beginning gave us a really good start. It gave us our standard. And even after getting taken off the air, off TV, we just didn't want to sacrifice the standard anymore because we kind of fell in love with that process, fell in love with the results, obviously, because you can see it garnered a lot of attention pretty quickly. So we just decided to keep that standard because we saw a lot of other, content creators. They do it in a more viral nature, and that's great. I mean, because I love to consume that type of content too. But how do you set yourself apart? And we thought that was the perfect way to keep ourselves kind of set apart by keeping the standard for broadcast television. Now, since then, we've tweaked it and we've adopted a lot of other styles, but that's just, the content and the brand grows, our experience grows, and we just try to capture all of that real time and then give the audience different looks. We try, you have to do special things to keep people's attention these days.
Well, yeah, we're like a cat playing with the mouse. You get tired and you got to look over here at the light on the wall and get our attention over there. And now you guys do an excellent job at it. Really, really do.
Thank you.
I didn't know. Initially you were Can you do the backstory first before we start? Because I'm gonna get away from that. Let's do that first, and then I didn't know you guys were taking off the air and all that. I don't know that story.
Okay.
And honestly, I'd love to hear about it, but before we do that, military. I'd talk. This is a big military listening podcast.
Okay.
What give us that growing up a bit, just so people know who you are. Give us a little perspective, and then why you joined the military and the Marine Corps, and then experience in there. So if you could.
Great. I haven't really. I don't really speak about that too much. So whenever I get a chance to, I don't shy away from it. But yeah, I think the military was a very it was a very pivotal part of my maturation as a young adult. I decided to leave the house. Listen, I signed up for the delayed entry program at 16. So I knew I was going in the Marine Corps. I was in ROTC for 4 years in high school, from a freshman to a senior. And I had reached the highest rank I could possibly reach in ROTC. I was the commander of the drill team. So I just really took to the discipline and organization aspect of what the military could offer. And I was from a small town, Opelousas, Louisiana. I mean, there wasn't much to see. There wasn't really much to experience there. And I just knew that there was a great big world, and I had no idea how to conquer that. I mean, think about how overwhelming that can be for a 16-year-old. So when the military offered, it was like, hey, man, free room and board. You get the best shape of your life, and you could travel and see the world. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. You're hiring me to go on vacation. That's what it sounds like. But obviously, we know what else came with that, right?
Sure.
So, and I don't blame my recruiter. I really don't blame my recruiter, because I was low-hanging fruit. I was like, I would have signed myself, So it's all good. So yeah, I joined the Marine Corps at 17. Like, actually went to boot camp at 17, turned 18 in boot camp, and just from there, I went to Marine Wing Support Squadron 273 in Beaufort, South Carolina. From there, I went to Okinawa, Japan, 3rd Marine Division. So I go from a Wing Support Squadron to 3rd Marine Division, 3rd Mar Div, Okinawa, Japan. And that was a big change, because it went from kind of like a laid-back wing environment to hardcore. This is 3rd Marine Division.
Yeah.
I mean, we're out there training in Hanson and Schwab and going on, deployments and whatnot. So it got very high octane, like really, really quick. And the fun,
Did you enjoy that trend? I mean, were you ready? Like, hey, this is what I signed up for when you got there, or was it, damn, this sucks, I want to go back to Buford?
No, I actually enjoyed it. I was fascinated by being overseas first and foremost. I mean, I was just absolutely fascinated to know I was in another country. And so then when that wore off, that's when I actually embraced the idea of being at such a notable unit, a notable duty station. And I just embraced everything that came with it. I was the sergeant of the guard during 9/11. 9/11 hit. It was actually a monsoon in the I lived on base housing at the time, and there was a monsoon. We were all like just bunkered in. Next thing you know, I was called to be the sergeant of the guard. So I literally had to get all my gear, and then I'm at the headquarters. I'm hopping in a Humvee. We're doing perimeter checks literally every hour. It was a 24-hour duty for the next, I don't know how many months. So after I came out of sergeant of the guard, for whatever reason, my OIC took interest in me and saw, I guess, potential. He wanted me to further pursue trying to be more proficient behind the firearm and become a sniper. He was like, John, I think you have the propensity to be a sniper. I think you can actually do it with the way that I see you exercise your fundamentals. I was an expert high shooter for the previous 5 years. So I've always loved shooting. And it just came kind of natural to me. So literally right before I was getting ready to prep to go to sniper school on Hanson, I broke my leg in half.
Doing what? Did you fall off the Humvee?
Were you football of all?
Oh, were you?
I was playing football and broke my femur across the midshaft. Had to get medevac out of Okinawa, and then I ended up here in Quantico. I ended up at Quantico.
Okay. I'm just wondering, is this something you think about all the time? That like, if I didn't do this one thing differently, my life trajectory would have been entirely different.
Absolutely, because there's so many other things that happened after I arrived here to Quantico in the DC area. Obviously, I'm opened up and expanded to so much more opportunity, both on the military side and on the civilian side, because I mean, this place is just like crawling with opportunity. So when I get here, my mindset changed. But yes, oftentimes I think back to what would that have looked like had I actually went through with going to sniper school? Would I still be in the Marine Corps? Sure. Would I have deployed more? Who knows? Like the what ifs are absolutely endless, because in that moment in time, I really was dedicated and ready to make that move. I was 23, 24 years old. So still impressionable. And when somebody offers you something and they think you're kind of badass, it's like, yeah, you're going to run with that. You know, that's all that 23, 24-year-old testosterone talking at that point.
Well, but that's why I love the military and the Marine Corps, especially if you're going in that sniper pipeline. It's performance based, so it's reaffirmation that, hey man, I'm kicking ass. I'm tearing it up.
It's true,
and they're recognizing it, which that is still should be that in the military, which I believe it is in certain units. But that's what I loved about the military. It was always performance based. It was never. Until you became an officer, maybe down the line, getting 05, 06 areas. But when you're a young private or you're in the sergeant enlisted area, if you get recognized like that, it's like, holy shit, I'm kicking ass. Let's continue on. So when you broke your leg and then went to Quantico, what'd you do? What'd they have you doing? I mean,
I was working as special purpose MAGTF experimental.
Okay, tell me what that is.
Exactly. I still got the badge for that because it's just such a cool badge and nobody knows what that place is. So it's literally all of the experimental weapons that the Marine Corps was either developing or testing came.
So you got to test R&D. You're R&D, it's R&D.
Basically R&D, right? Okay, right. And before you even ask, the most interesting firearm that I saw there was called the corner shot. Have you ever heard of the corner shot?
The one I remember, that one where you could bend it. It was like a Glock. It was 9 mil. It had a Glock.
Yep.
But it had the build and it had a little flip so you could come around here. But the optics were set up that you could look down and yeah, I remember that. What happened? You know what? It kind of just disappeared.
It just went away. Who knows
what happened?
Who knows where they're using the corner shot, sir?
Was it worth it? I mean, I saw it and looked cool, but I mean, also it reminds me of Wanted with Angelina Jolie and bending bullets and all. I was like, that can't be.
So
This can't be.
so the thing is it actually bends the gun. So
It bends the gun.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's in kind of like I wouldn't even call it an AR platform housing. It was more like one of those Ronies, you know, the
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was more like that, but extended to the front, obviously. So that way, when you put the front half of that contraption out past the wall and you hit the button and then it flips. So the whole gun goes to the side, but then there's a camera looking through the optic. And the camera is on the back end of that contraption. So you're looking at the camera through the optic.
Could you, okay, be honest. Was it
didn't
worth a shit? Did you shoot it at all?
I
Was it
didn't shoot it.
accurate?
I didn't shoot it.
Oh,
And to be honest with you, just the mechanics of it was strange to me because of just what I know about recoil right now.
yeah, of course.
You know, so how does that work when you have something standing out here and then it's going to do this, and you have no leverage? Where's your leverage?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Man, I really wish I never got to shoot one of those. I do remember those,
Mhm.
and that. But I was wondering the same thing. Well, that's still. I mean, that's cool. How'd you feel, and what was going through your head when you're there? You know, you're nursing your leg. It sounds like you're still in a pretty cool position. You're not in Japan.
I was, without question. And I think it was, again, more about my maturation and evolution as a human being at that time, because I was going through something that kind of reset my trajectory, so to speak.
Sure.
And to be honest with you, that was the beginning of the end of my career, because first off, they put a rod in my leg that was about a quarter of an inch too long. So I was walking unevenly for the first year. So I fully rehabbed into this limping position until they realized that the rod was too long. So then they had to go back in, break the leg again, irritate the thing, put in the new rod that fit properly. And now to this day, I still feel like my leg, like the bottom half of my leg might be turned a little bit, you know, just because I'm like, I don't know. For them to make such a grave error the first time, I don't put anything past anything after that.
Well, honestly, I didn't know that. You couldn't tell out at the range when we were running. You weren't hobbling, or I didn't. At least maybe next time if you come out,
you're gonna be studying my gait now.
Like, and is he limping, or is he cockeyed to the left a little bit?
Yeah. No, man. Yeah, so I don't really have any complaints about it. And the funny thing is I'm not 100% disabled. I'm not even close to 100%. I'm like 40% disabled, right? And everyone tells me, man, you can go back and you can get more and this and that and the third. But there's so much that's not service connected to this. And the fact that I wasn't on a deployment. This was during PT. Like I was playing PT football and just happened to pull a hamstring across the mid shaft, broke clean break, right? Wow. So at the end of the day, the thing that I'm thankful for is how it opened up my mind to adjust my lifestyle and adjust what I thought were my life's plans at the time, based on one scenario, now given another scenario. So it pushed me to go to college. It pushed me to study business more. It pushed me to be hungry, to be humble enough to sit under someone else's tutelage if I wanted said information. So it was a good learning experience. I mean, I've done and worked with a lot of people in a lot of different industries. I consider myself a jack of all trades. And I did all of that while I was still a federal civil service worker. I was still a civilian Marine at the time. So I didn't fully hang up the government until like 2017. And then I started working for a broadcast media company. And then from there, that's when I started to understand the media space better. I understood that it fit a lot of the attributes that I already had from college and the military, and being a freelance entrepreneur on the side. I was able to leverage a lot of the different assets that I bring to the table at this media company. And just being there and growing in there, it just happenstance, while I made this transformation into the firearm space, I learned enough prior to that about media to know that there was a media opportunity here for us in the firearm space in order to, send a certain message, tell certain stories. And that's what the premise of this all started as. Now, obviously, it started as me buying my first pistol and rifle in 2020, which a lot of other people are shocked about, because coming from the military background, getting out of the Marine Corps in 2008, yes, it was 12 years later when I first purchased my first firearms.
Wow. Well,
And part of that is probably also cultural, being in where you're at. You know, you're near DC, right?
mhm.
So it's not as much a part of the culture as
Well,
like where Chris is in Kansas.
well, but Quantico's next to Fredericksburg, and I do
Mhm.
remember we used to do a lot of training out of the Crucible and DynCorp, and actually, that's where sniper school is. One of many sniper schools at Quantico. So honestly, I could see that. I'm not a big hunter or anything like that as well. And when I got out of the military, I didn't just go buy a gun
Mhm.
myself either. You just kind of get worried. There's other things on your mind, and what that says to me, and what your story is that you gave the proper response to how to handle the adversity.
Mhm.
You just said, okay, well, this sucks. Well, I can sit here and cry about it, or I can figure out some way to better myself and continue on. And that's a great message to anyone that's going through adversity, not just youngsters, but anyone, because you handled it correctly. We do talk about faith here in God, and even though I cuss a lot on there, I have to pray for forgiveness every time we get off the
Listen,
podcast.
I feel a little uncomfortable, and it's funny too because Chris, you're so humble, man. You're so respectful.
Yeah.
You're so nice, but you curse like a sailor, and so do
I
I.
know.
But the funny thing is when I get around you, sometimes I'll be wanting to hold back, but then I think, well, no, this is Chris.
This is
Man,
Chris. He
cousin
can drop
Chris,
F.
man. What are you talking
Well,
about? Chris,
that's why me and Ian that's why I was pushed Ian. Like, Ian, really, we are not in the political category. We're in the faith-based category. He goes, Chris, we cannot, because you say fuck way too much. There's no
It's not
way.
even. I don't think necessarily you
no.
do, but it's other people that we'll have on where it's just like. I mean, you can't. If we're trying to hit like the Joel
Yeah,
Osteen
yeah, I
audience,
know,
you'll be like,
Joel
you'll
Osteen.
literally be
Yeah,
like, "What the
yeah.
fuck is this?" You know.
Definitely,
But
definitely sending the wrong message 100%. So listen, I think you
yeah,
guys picked the right category for sure.
yeah, no, we're in government, so it's not political, and we do talk. Military is a part of government, but actually, what you were saying, that's a good transition into what Chris was asking, into like the birth of Guns Out TV and working in TV and that whole story.
And did you ever have any problems with when the leg happened? Why are you doing this to me? God, and did you have a conflict of faith? I mean, because I did when I shit blood out of my ass,
Yeah.
and I figured out I had Crohn's disease or ulcer. They didn't figure it out, and everything was going great in the military. I'd come back. I was an officer now, and then all of a sudden, like I was like, what did I do to deserve this? Sitting in a hospital bed, there was a little bit of a, all right, God, what do I believe in God? A little doubt and faith. I'm not saying I didn't believe in God. It's just like, okay, is he really helping me? Or did you have that? And did you were able to handle any of that? Or did you just continue on with your life and say, this is just one of the path God's got me on. I'm just going to keep grinding.
That is such an interesting question, Chris. And it's interesting because I don't remember thinking that one time. And
Okay.
the reason why I don't remember thinking that one time is because I have a tendency to live in the moment, and coming from where I grew up and just not really having a wide experience level coming into young adulthood, all of these things, I looked at each and everything that came to me as an experience that I could
Okay.
learn from, grow from, and how am I going to conquer this? How am I going to achieve this? I love achievements. I love achievements.
Sure.
I love trophies. I love acknowledgement, all of those things. And so every time I'm given that opportunity to be in position
Sure.
to shine, to show my best, to show my grit, to show that even with the odds stacked against me, man, listen, I go for it. I go for it. It's almost like I welcome it because it's like, I don't know. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Dragon Ball Z, but like this is one of the,
Oh yeah.
oh, yeah. So like, it's
Of
like the
course.
Saiyans, man, like the Saiyans, you beat the living snot out of them and they love every moment of it because they know they're about to come back stronger.
Yeah.
It's kind of always really been my personality because I mean, listen, I was bullied in high school. I didn't really have a whole ton of friends that I left behind when I joined the military. So that was even more of just, I don't know, man.
Motivate. I mean, it's not like
It
motivation.
motivated the hell out
Yeah.
of me, man. It's like, man, get out here and just prove yourself to you. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to
That
prove myself to me because I couldn't tell what I was worth based on anyone else.
sure.
And the
Sure.
funny thing is that you should never do that anyway.
Anyway, yeah. Who
So
gives a shit, dude? Just
who cares, man? As long as you're doing you with the best intentions and you're not taking away from anyone else. I mean, listen. And then you go
yeah.
from that mentality to, I want to be doing things that add value to other people. And then that's how you develop purpose. So I feel like everything starts with inside. It starts within you. So I feel like just my whole intent of leaving the house at 16 years old, 17 years old, going into military, thrusting on myself out there on my own, getting as far as away from everything else that I knew. I think that was a great start. And I entice people to do that. I mean, I encourage people to do that. Anybody that doesn't have a plan coming right out of high school, man, just join the military. Join the military.
They'll make a plan for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But just keep your character. And that's what I always tell people. It's like I adopt characteristics, but I never change my character. My character is who I am. All of these characteristics, all these things that I'm adopting from other people, they're tools in my tool belt that I can deploy as needed. But my foundation character is always the same. I'm going to be John from Guns Out. I'm going to be John, the ex-Marine. I'm going to be John Jay Sean's dad. I'm going to be John Dwight's son. I'm going to always be the same John. All of these guys, it's John.
Yeah, that's honestly that's a great way of thinking of dealing and handling adversity. I know we get listeners. We have a bunch of listeners that go through adversity, and just how do we handle? How you keep driving on, and you use that as a motivating factor. And honestly, you have a good. If you ever wanted to be a speaker with the broken leg, you have a great story. You have seriously, you have a great story. It's like it didn't bother me. I just kept like, screw it. Let's just keep pushing on. And that's amazing. And that's how everybody should think, whether you have faith or not. It's just keep grinding on and making myself better and not feeling sorry for yourself.
And you know what? And now that I know that your listeners may feel similar or have similar situations or might be able to actually relate. I now that I'm thinking about it and you've jogged my memory, I remember I did break down. Okay, so this is crazy. I didn't even tell you this part of the story. So when I broke my leg in half, my wife was pregnant with my son.
Ooh. Wow.
When I broke my leg and went into it was a horrifying experience for her. And by the time I got out of the hospital, she was being admitted into the hospital, giving in labor 3 months premature with my son.
Wow.
So my son was born 3 months early, and we actually got medevac from Okinawa to Hawaii because of him. He had to go to the special NICU there because he was so premature.
Wow.
But I remember that day that I came home from the hospital, and I literally missed her. She was getting driven to the hospital by my cousin who was stationed in Okinawa with me. And I got home to an empty house knowing she was pregnant. And then my brother helped me to my bed. I laid down in the bed. And when I laid in the bed and realized that I couldn't just get up and do what I needed, I couldn't just get up and go to the hospital and check on her. Yeah. I couldn't just get up and go to the bathroom for that matter. I needed assistance because my leg was in full traction. And I had it was crazy. So I'm laying there in bed and I literally just broke down. This was the first time in my life that I felt like I couldn't do anything about all this stuff that's going on around me. I could
just a feeling of helplessness, more or less.
Just helplessness. It was absolute helplessness because there was nothing I could do, Chris. Like I would have had to been like on 1,000 Percocet and had some crutches from hell or something, or a motorized wheelchair just to get around because I could not move my leg at all. All of my right side was dead weight.
Yeah.
So that was the one tough point. But luckily my brother called my dad. My dad got on the phone and he said whatever my dad said. I don't even remember what my dad said to me at that moment, but my dad said something to me and it snapped me back into, all right, man. All right. I got to start figuring out how to move this leg right now.
Well, that's how we all go through that. Everybody has that breaking point at some point. Some are more farther down the line than others. Mm-hmm. But what's awesome is that you got out of it. You didn't let it beat you up for months, years, and that's when it becomes harder. It's that you just, all right, I'm in this hole. I'm getting my ass out of it now, and that's how adversity should be handled. And it made you wiser. And honestly, that's why nothing stops you now. You had that point, and I think everyone that's gone through adversity and then overcomes it, it makes them stronger because when they're hit with adversity again, they're like, I got this.
I've been through this. Yeah.
I already did it. I'm good, which is obviously why you're successful in what you're doing now. Now I'm glad we got all that. The Guns Out, because now you're extremely successful. I know you're successful just from being around you and Shermichael, regardless of how how successful Guns Out is, which it is. That's a blessing. It's a cherry on
It
top.
absolutely is.
You guys are successful just because you're good people, man. And that's why I said, you guys aren't influencers. You're mentors. And you guys are mentors in the true sense of the word to the gun community and to just the community in general. And Guns Out TV is a big part of that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
talk
appreciate you
about it.
acknowledging that. I really do.
No, of course.
I appreciate you acknowledging that. And on behalf of both me and Shermichael, we both thank you for that. And I agree with you, Chris. I do agree that success in large part is from people who are doing the right things for the right reasons. And it's just very interesting. You have to know when it's time to go. You have to know when it's time to press go on something. And it's funny because Guns Out, like on the back of our shirts, it says go, Guns Out.
Yep.
So that's what Guns Out is. It was like, all right, 2008, get out of the Marine Corps. And it's not until 2020. I'm literally, it's 2020. I am pressure washing epoxy off of my garage floor while New York is burning because of protest. And
Okay.
and I'm just thinking to myself, all of these other things happened before that. I won't even bring these instances up. But everyone knows what was going on at that time.
Yeah.
Coronavirus
Yeah.
thrown on top as a cherry, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I've never seen this before. I've seen a lot of stuff. We've seen a lot of stuff over the years, Chris, and you've seen even more than me. But this, you can't say that this didn't look different in that moment in time.
The morality of why it was happening was way different. And believe me, CIA is probably one of the most immoral organizations in the world. But there was a country morality issue where it's like, oh, wait a second,
Right. It was a moment of, in my opinion, absolute uncertainty. I feel like there was a moment in there where everyone was absolutely uncertain as to where this is going to go. Now, and here's the crazy thing. I mean, and I'm fairly certain you thought of it, and I'm sure it was a concern of yours too, Chris, being the things that you've been through in your service years, is that if we look this way to us right now, what do we look like to other people who are their sole mission is to organize against us?
Honestly, we talked about it on the podcast. We are vulnerable, right? We had that little conversation. I know multiple times. We are vulnerable right now.
Right.
We are.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking of actually? It was pre-2020, but we had Coriolanus on who, works in intel and hacking and all that stuff. And he spoke about it. I mean, it's well known, like Russia was buying both Trump ads and Black Lives Matter ads.
Yeah.
Why? Did they believe in those causes? No, they wanted to
No.
cause division. And I think that was definitely used to an advantage. Let's cause as much division amongst people as possible. And we were all at each other's throats during that time.
And honestly, that is what we did. And I said this so many times. That is what we did to other countries when we were going there to destabilize them before we'd go in and overrun, take over, fight, war, whatever. I was like, man, we're doing the same shit that we did to the Iraqis, to Afghanistan. You kind of had it coming. How's it know Osama bin Laden? I'm not going to knock Afghanistan, but Yemen, I was like, man, we're doing exactly the same stuff that we did to other countries before we came in and just either ISR'd the shit out of them or bombed them or came in with troops.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I saw. No, you're right. And we were at each other's throats. And I was like, man, is this orchestrated by the old people I used to work for? Because it sure looks familiar.
Bro, yeah,
like, man, this looks familiar.
So and so that's the crazy part. I have far less experience in that department than you. Far less. But in that moment, I was even concerned. Right.
But you saw it. Yeah.
And in knowing that, and in knowing that this is due to civil unrest on our soil, I'm like, you know what? I need to make certain that if this starts to multiply and starts to, pop up, and it felt like that's what it was doing. It felt like it was getting closer and closer to home every single time. And then bam, January 6th happened. And it's just like, so it's like all of this is just so crazy. But I'm just saying, like, that's what I felt in 2020. I felt like it was getting too close to home. So with that being said, I literally made it to the last gun show before the full lockdown of coronavirus, the last gun show in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I bought a Glock 19X and a Smith & Wesson M&P Sport. And
nice gun, nice little gun. I mean,
oh,
that's good
listen,
guns to buy. Real
I
quick.
just I went. I
Yeah,
wanted to be complete. I wanted to make sure that I could have something with me and have something for the house, right?
you got you, got
So
you.
so I needed to get a loadout. Okay, I played enough Call of Duty to know that's what it's called. It's called a loadout. so so I got the loadout, man. And when I tell you what happened next was just unreal. I remembered myself as a kid always collecting these little cap guns and these military
Yeah,
guns and all these little spy gadgets. And I would, on like Friday nights, me and my brother would put them all in duffel bags and we'd go on little missions and do little
yeah.
cornball stuff like that. And I just, and then I remember like growing up, one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite movie scenes of all time that I literally just looked up about a month ago because I just wanted to see that one scene was Arnold Schwarzenegger in Raw. Was it Raw or Raw
Yeah.
Deal? Raw Deal?
Raw deal. It's called Raw Deal.
Raw Deal.
Raw Deal.
When he
Yeah,
did
that was an awesome movie. Yeah.
when he was putting all the guns in the bag, putting all the guns in the bag.
Man.
I was like, he got all the guns in the bag.
Man, I haven't seen that.
Look, anybody that just wants to see a good putting guns in the bag scene, you go and you go to YouTube and look up Arnold Schwarzenegger Raw Deal. And the
Raw
scene
Deal.
after that is crazy because he puts all the bag of guns in the car and then he shoots out the windshield, kicks the windshield off as he's driving. He's drifting around a dump and he's shooting people out of cranes and it's the wildest thing you ever see in your life. But man, it was just so cool. And I just remember that as a kid. I was like, man, that is so cool. So having my little loadout here, my precious. Now I have my precious. And so I was like, all right, I got to get a case. All right. So then I get a case and then I start getting stuff and the guns and stuff happen. Next thing you know, I had an AR pistol. I had a full-size AR. I had a bullpup shotgun. I had 2 pistols. And then wifey bought me a staccato for my birthday. And that was all she wrote.
Wow.
So
it's all downhill from there.
It was all downhill from there.
Or uphill, whoever you want to look at it.
Yeah. Either way, I was down. I was into it. So yeah, and so then what came next? I had all these guns, and I'm like, okay, I need to go shoot these guns. So then a friend of mine, well, actually our mentor, Sir Michael, and our mentor had an associate that had a huge piece of property out in Virginia somewhere, far from here. Man, we would load up and drive an hour and a half to that property. I would do it every weekend if he let me. I had to let him know. I had to preface him and say, sir, I just want you to know, I'll be here every weekend you let me. Okay. I want you to, I'm saying that so that if that's not what you want, tell me that now. Because in my mind, I'm about to be here every weekend to shoot my guns. And then he was like, oh yeah, well, okay. So John, yeah, we'll do maybe like twice a month. But once I got the okay and once I knew it was twice a month, I was like, bet. So then I'll go to Home Depot. I bought plywood. I bought 2x4s. I bought some drills. I bought some zip ties, and we built a range out there on this property. And
that's awesome.
And he was kind enough to let us shoot. Man, next thing you know, he started bringing people. When he knew we were coming, he would bring people by. And I wish I could say some of the names of some of these people because you'd be like, wow. But because I was like, wow, okay, you're a gun person, okay, you know. So, but it was just, to say the least, it was just so interesting how this new world had opened up, and my wife and my son and my friends and my coworkers, everybody's fascinated at my fascination. And next thing you know, we're all there on the weekends, you know, and even when it's cold, we bought like little propane heaters out there. I mean, it was ridiculous. So it had gotten to a point where my wife was like, you know, you need to film this because this is remarkable. I cannot believe that you've bought so many guns in such a short period of time and you went and built a range. You don't know how to build a range, but you built a range. It was a legit range, Chris. It was 100 yards of paper targets, 25 yards apiece. And then we had steel on all the trees. We had it was set up. It was set up.
Wow.
And so I told her, I was like, if you come to the range, because I was trying to get her to come to the range. I was like, if you come to the range and film it, I'll consider that. Like, let's just give it a shot. I don't mind. So she came and she agreed to film it, and we filmed it. And I was amazed at what I was seeing. I was like, wow, that's, you know, from the perspective of somebody that, like, when I'm in the moment, I don't think about what it looks like. I'm in the moment. I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
So then looking back at it, I'm like, wow, that is interesting. And like, wow, does look interesting. So we edited it all up, and we loved what we had, and so we showed it to Shermichael, and I was like, Sherm, you think I could do this on YouTube? He was like, oh yeah, man, this is YouTube ready right now. I was like, oh wow, okay,
And
cool.
he was working in TV at the time, right?
Yeah, so yeah, Shermichael, he's been, I don't know how long he's been in TV. I know he's been in politics forever. That's like the foundation of his career. And then I don't necessarily know when the media started, but then when the media started with him, it looks like it just skyrocketed. He's been on every news platform that uses letters. He's been on those. He's been on all of those.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and giving it to him and getting the thumbs up from him, because I know Shermichael is a very matter-of-fact person. He tells you like it is. He's not gonna waste your time. And so he was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. So then I played around with the idea a little bit more after that, and I was like, Sharon, why don't you do this with me, man? And then it was because I knew that I wanted to give it more substance than just going to the range and shooting.
Sure.
Right? I wanted to give it more substance. And I just knew that, I look at Shermichael as Mr. Substance, sometimes over substantive, right? And so we talked about it, and then he really made me understand the stigma of people, anti-gunners, and how people felt about the firearms community. Because for me, I'm the worst person. I don't see that stuff. I really don't. I let people be who they are. I accept people. I meet people where they are. As long as you're not treading on me, like they say. You're not treading on me. We have no issue. None whatsoever. Right? So with that being said, I was totally aloof to that whole, to all of what was at risk in 2A. I had no idea. So Sherm kind of educated me on that. And then I started doing my own research, and I started seeing the examples and seeing what the big deal was about, how rights are being infringed upon, and how people aren't, being demonized.
He's just out there with his kid. I'm listening.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, people are being demonized because they own guns, and I just thought it was the most preposterous thing that I had ever witnessed, because I know I'm out there with my family, and I'm seeing people. Literally, my range buddy group grows by 2 people every time I go back to the range, because people are talking, people are wanting to bring other people. So I'm like, what are they talking about over here? I don't even understand. What's that noise, right? So then when I was made aware of it, I was like, Sherm, this is our opportunity, because I haven't experienced that, what they're talking about. And I don't understand how somebody being proficient and responsible and safe with a firearm to defend themselves or their family and having that peace of mind, I don't see remotely how that could be a bad thing. And
but that's perfect, because you're just doing it. Why we do it? We do it because we enjoy it.
No.
Yeah, we want to protect ourselves.
Right.
Of course we do. But I think that's the left, and where they come from is they think that that's what we're doing, and we're a bunch of hayseeds out here running around with no wine or wind, just want to shoot everything up. No. We're actually enjoying. This is fun. It's a gathering. We come, we hang out together. Yeah. We're outside together. Yeah. We're enjoying it. We're laughing. It's building confidence. It's building camaraderie. It's building partnerships. And they don't see that. That's why I know I interrupt you, because I'm sorry about that. But because you came in without really knowing it, which is a great thing.
No, it is.
Not knowing the two, you're doing it, and that's why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the political reason. We do it because, like today, 2 hours out there at the range myself. I'm lucky I don't have to drive an hour and a half. I can just go down the road and run it. But I'm out there running and PT and doing pull-ups and then shooting and being outside because it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just really.
No, this is all good, man.
You did it. You're doing it. And what you just said really sums up why responsible gun owners shoot, how you built it up. And now you've taken it to the next level, of course. But yeah, I know. Keep going. I'm sorry about that.
But it's good. I love the feedback, Chris. And so my biggest thing when we started Guns Out was I instantly, at that point, understanding what was at stake, what the argument was about, who the people involved are, et cetera, I realized that I was in a category that's very important to this entire fight. And that's the category of the indifferent. So coming out of the military, I have experience with firearms. I know what firearms do. I was literally going to be a trained military killer. You're
gonna be a state platoon, dude.
I was gonna be that guy. So I know it does. So given that context of of my experience with firearms and I get out of the Marine Corps, that doesn't really fit with where I'm going. This doesn't really fit, right? So I'm like, one of these things don't belong, so we'll leave that over here. So and because I looked at myself I'm not looking for any type of altercations. I'm not,
Mhm.
and I just didn't trust my own individual handling skills of and the responsibility that goes with owning a firearm. Because
Sure.
what people really fail to realize is that when you go to the military, yeah, you learn how to shoot guns, but it's very basic and rudimentary at best, as a basic infantryman or
Yep.
a
Yep.
basic
Yep. Yep.
Marine Army person, whatever you want to call it, right? It's very simple. It's very static. It's nothing over complex, and it's an ushered experience. You are picked up and you are brought to the armory where your gun lives, and you check the gun out, and you get on a bus with a whole bunch of other people, and you get off the bus with those same people, and you get in the line with those people, and you are told every time when to pull that trigger for the most part. That's what basic military shooting is. Okay. So it's not something where I just felt comfortable with, coming home with a gun and a rifle and a pistol. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. I didn't feel like I could shoot them. Yes. Do I want to own them? Probably not right now. I'm good. So I took the time that I needed. And I guess I waited for the moment that I guess is a necessity, because I trusted my fundamentals enough, the fundamentals that I learned in the military, which they're solid fundamentals. And by the way, I just want to make sure I didn't offend anybody when I said that the shooting curriculum is basic, but
Oh, it is.
in the context of what we're talking about, Chris, it is.
No, it is, and I've been basic, and I've been in the special operations area. Yes, there is a level that you
There's a
start, and
lot of
then
levels, all up in
it's
between that.
so
Right?
no, but you're not right. There isn't an ownership of guns. We don't take our guns home with us. They
Right.
go to the armory. And you said it exactly right. And if you offended somebody out there, get over it. They'll get over it. And if
Well,
not, they
anyway.
can yell at me. They can
Right,
yell at me
right,
for
right.
telling them to get over it.
They're not about to yell at you, Chris. So we all know that. So anyway, seriously though, so because of it being an industrial space, that's why I just did not rush to get it. It became a necessity, and I trusted my fundamentals enough to know that I could handle myself accordingly. But the moment I got it, that's when I went back out to the range and I put my fundamentals to the test. And
Were you learning from somebody, or were you learning from yourself, or you're
no,
learning
I
from?
was literally just honestly, it's so funny because I was literally kind of self-teaching myself how to do certain things. Like I had to relearn how to mount an AR because when you're shooting for marksmanship, you're not shooting in a combat stance for the most part. You're
No.
shooting however you need to hit that target to qualify, right? So that could
Shooting
be
and
like
supported stand.
support
Most
hand,
times you're
off hand,
supporting.
all these
Yep, yep,
different
yeah,
things.
yeah.
So I had to learn how to mount an AR in a defensive situation. And the funny thing is the first video I watched was John Lovell, I think he said how to shoot an AR-15 or something like that. And it was funny because the video opens, John Lovell's turned around, and then he hits the timer and he turns around and mounts the AR and 5 shots and all on target. And I was just like, okay. So then I got out there and I started trying stuff. And my wife, she always say, she would say, you want to move and shoot, don't you? Because I would always be like either sitting and shooting my AR, standing and shooting, kneeling and shooting, prone and shooting. I would never like move with the gun in my hand. And I was like, is it that obvious? So that's when I started to seek training, and literally right when I got to the point where I knew I wanted to start taking training was right at the same point where the guns out opportunity became a thing. So then we found added value to, okay, let's do this training on camera. Let's do the training on camera in your novice state to kind of show people. And now people can come with you and come with us on this journey of learning
Okay.
how to be a responsible gun owner and a trained shooter.
So was this a network that wanted to work with you prior to you putting it on YouTube? How did that all work out?
Again, I work for a broadcast media company. My boss owns television stations across the country and his own television show. He actually came out to the range as a part of his show with us. And I'm sure it was
Okay.
just to see what all the hype was about, because he heard all the rumblings of us doing videos together and stuff like that. So we
So
went.
you were on YouTube at the time.
I think we had one episode on YouTube at the time. Yeah,
Okay.
we had like one episode. Is a Saturday shooter. So actually, like everything before episode 1, you'll see it'll say Guns Out episode 1, the Machine Gun Nest. That was the first 4 TV episode.
Okay.
The 2 or 3 before that were Saturday shooters, and that was literally me and Shermichael going to the range filming with our phones.
Okay.
So
All right.
when we got on TV, my boss, our mentor, obviously, I mean, he owns television stations. He can create and play shows. There was opportunity there. So we got a time slot, and the rest is history, man. Like once we got that time slot, we were calling around telling people, "Hey, we're a show on TV. We want to shoot guns at your range and put it on TV." They're like, oh, everybody's like, "What on TV? Wait, you said you meant YouTube, right?" I was like, "No, this is for TV." And at that point, it was like, yeah, everyone wanted to open the doors, so we leveraged that. We leveraged that to go in and be able to showcase ranges and range culture and the different types of ranges. And then that grew to showcasing experiences and people and reviewing guns. And then, the rest is history, man. We just took the ball and ran with it.
How did you now you're still correct me if I'm wrong, you're still married, right? You're still married, kids, or are you I don't, I'm honest, brother, I've never asked. And the reason I'm asking is how did that go with all this going on? The Marine Corps, she's dealing with that. Now this is going crazy and blowing up. How was the family? I mean, was she supportive of it? Obviously she was filming out there with you, but when it started to blow up, how were you able to maintain that continuity at home, or did it, or were you having to figure out, okay, wait, this is different now? How do I maintain this relationship at home and still be a father and still be a husband?
So between the military and other business experiences and opportunities I had between the military and Guns Out, there was already it's kind of already understood that I'm going to
Okay.
do what I need to do and take care of the things I need to take care of. And Roland is ever supportive of me. Like
That's awesome.
she is my absolute backbone. She stands behind me in almost everything that I do. Granted, I think that I've shown her that I have perseverance and I won't quit. So it's not like one of those things where things are fads for me. I don't really do fads.
Yeah.
I will literally procrastinate on something long enough to get the full idea before I even pull the trigger the first time, because I don't like to start something and stop something and start something and be like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I like to have a good framework in place before I act on something, because I know I'm going to want to take it to that level immediately.
Sure.
Yeah, and could I just jump in there and say too many people do that? I mean, how many people start YouTube channels, start podcasts? We see it all the time. And after a few months, they're like, yeah, I'm not, it takes a lot of perseverance to just keep going with this stuff.
And is she an avid shooter too? Does she shoot?
Dude, she has her own staccato C. You
Does
know
she
what?
really?
Look out for the YouTube. I'm gonna post a range day video where we were at the range recently, and she was shooting her staccato C, and she emptied the full mag on steel on target at 15 yards, and she literally said, "I feel like I'm cheating." I was like, she thinks that shooting a red dot is cheating. I was like, it's not cheating. It's
no. Don't that old school way of thinking. No.
Yeah.
Take it from a 50-year-old man. Remember, I told you we're out at Copper Ticket Days, and I shot Shermichael's, and I'm like, guys, I really need to get this done because my eyes suck now, and it's hard to do. No, there's no cheating. Shoot that dang red dot all day.
I'm just telling you, man. I'm telling you, she shoot a little one. It's like a Romeo 0. It's like a small window. I tried to put a Delta Point Pro on that thing. I was like, man, put a DPP on there, girl. Get that window nice and big so you can see. She was like, it's still a window. So it's like, all right, whatever. All right, fine. I don't have to spend that money.
Bro, you can't put that up. Might as well. Why don't you just put an EOTech on that little ass?
Oh, stop, man. Whatever. The slide is the same. The slide on the C2 is the same as the slide on the C and the P. So it's all about the same. The P is a little longer, but it's the same width of slide.
Okay. All right. I mean, I got my little staccato C. I love that thing.
You have the Romeo on yours, or is it irons?
No, it's irons. I got to get it milled out. I got it. Was it whatever gen? The first. It's old. Was it first gen? And But no, I'll go get it milled out. I'm working on it, man. I'm just too lazy to take it down to the deal.
You hold off on that, Chris, because we know some people. All right,
we know some people.
And I'll be honest with you. I feel like when I tell them, hey, Chris has a C2. You have a C2, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, Chris has a C. Chris Peranto, by the way, has a C2 that he's about to mill the slide to put an optic on.
I'm gonna have to.
Don't you want to just send him an optic ready one?
I would think they probably would, but you never. I piss off a lot of people.
I already have the argument formulated in my head. We're going to staccato next week, Chris. I'll keep you posted.
Good. That's why, like you said, you take things all the way, 110% till the end. So, but you know me, brother. It's like I told you, man. I'm happy. I'm blessed with whatever comes my way, and whatever doesn't,
Well, that's why you
I'm
keep
blessed
getting
with
blessed,
that
Chris.
too.
That's why you keep getting blessed, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Hey,
Thank
hey,
you.
Chris, you gotta leave at the top of the hour, right? Because I think you have a call.
Do I have a call today?
I believe so. When I was looking at the calendar, because I just want to make sure that we're on
Oh no,
schedule here.
don't worry about it. I'd have
Don't
to
worry.
go.
Okay.
No,
Well, I did have.
no, we're
I,
good.
I I don't know if you have any other stuff. I do have one other big question, and I mean we could go hours. I
Oh,
do
for
know, but
sure.
one thing I was wondering is one of our guests that we had on, who I know was like an early supporter of yours, and we only had him on one time, was John Bartolo,
Oh yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
we
We love
lost,
John Bartolo, man.
and we didn't really get to know him that well. I mean, we had a great episode with him, but I know he was like super supportive of you
He
guys.
was.
What was your
He really
experience with
was.
him?
Yeah.
Because I know he's greatly missed in the firearms community.
Yes, yes. Man, that's crazy. You literally just made me reflect on that. And that's
Yeah, I mean, I know he was a big supporter. I mean, I watch your
man.
stuff, so
So wow. That I'm gonna be honest with you. The fact that he supported us so much was strange to me. Like
Huh.
I didn't even know how to receive it at first because I just didn't
Sure.
understand. We were so early. And that's the thing. I think when you say he was an early supporter of us, he was an early supporter of us. We weren't but 3 episodes in on TV. And 2 of them hadn't even aired yet because they were still in the can, and we were already traveling to Vegas and doing things, and he had us on his show. So we only had 1 episode aired on TV. So it's like, and after I got to know John, I understood that he's a man that understands framework, he understands vision, and he sees the value of something for exactly what it is. And he articulated to us that he felt like what we were doing was missing, and what we were doing was so different that it's going to make other people want to do it, and that we should without question be unwavering in our pursuit to continue doing this just the way we're doing it. And that was his message 100% of the time. Don't change your guys' DNA. Keep doing what you're doing it the way that you're doing it. And the reason why it's so hard for me to understand is because it was almost as if he saw all the things we were getting ready to do. Because remember, we were only 3 episodes in, 1 of which had aired on TV. So
Yeah.
for him to have that level of belief was humbling. It was an honor. And I think it subconsciously motivated both me and Shermichael. And then, so that Vegas trip for us, that was, like I said, we were 3 episodes in. So then the Vegas stuff and the Vegas experience, it was so amazing that we actually like pushed the episodes in front of it, because it was like things were going to be so epic in Vegas. We can't air that yet. We got other little stuff to do first. So let's go do that stuff and then show the Vegas stuff. But yeah, man, John Bartolo as a human being for us was an experience. Just like I'd never met a guy that really talked like him. I had never met a guy that was, sure, Michael is Frank.
Yeah.
John Bartolo was Frank.
Oh yeah, I mean the
He was
episode with us,
Frank.
Chris. I feel like he talked shit about like a dozen
Oh,
people
my
during
God.
the episode. Me and Chris are just like sitting back, and he's like,
Yo,
"The fucking NRA, all they care about is having Ted Nugent." Like, and he was just like going off on everybody. And Chris and I were just like, "Wow, all right, it's entertaining." But he was totally like a Boston guy who spoke his mind.
Yeah,
He
man.
didn't give a fuck
Yeah,
what anybody thought.
it was an experience. That was another, like, he's one of those people that you won't ever forget, especially at the level of which that we knew him. Like, we texted, we talked on the phone, and that was the other thing. John was everyone knew John was super busy. He had his hands in all kinds of stuff, right? And he would literally pick up the phone if I called him. I remember I think he was at a hockey game or something, and he literally called. Like, I called him, he picked up the phone and said, "John, this game is about to be over in 45 seconds. I will call you in a minute and 45 seconds because it's going to take me a minute to get out of this booth." I was like, "All right, fine. All right, cool." And so, and then he called me back in like 2 minutes. And for somebody of his tenure in the firearm space, and as busy as he was and moving and shaking with all these different people and things, for him to pick up the phone when me or Shermichael called, I mean, it was just, again, it affirmed what he said in the beginning that I didn't understand, and then made me understand. And I was like, that was like, I don't know, it was a very meaningful affirmation because it came later. It came after the affirmation clicked for me after more of the work had been done. And I was like, oh wow, he was right. You know, so yeah, it was just cool, man. And yeah, man, rest in peace, John Bartolo, man. God bless him and his family, his child, and yeah, man, just all blessings to him and his family.
You know one thing you didn't say out of there, and this is what I took for this is all, and this is kind of it's odd in the gun community because there's so much dang competition, and it shouldn't be. That's why I thought the copper ticket thing was so good. We just came and really
Yeah,
that's
that
how it
was
should have
fun.
been. This should the gun community come together. You never mentioned one time that you thought he had any nefarious actions or wanted anything from you, but to help you, and that's a good thing
Yeah.
because you never. I didn't. And that's honestly that's what I was hoping to not hear. I didn't want to hear that he had some ulterior motive.
And so here's the thing, you know, like I know there's people within the firearm space, some people feel different about John, right? And that's a proven fact. John even knew that, right? And again, your problems with John aren't my problems with John. And if I don't have problems with John, I'm not going to adopt your problems with John because they're not
Yeah.
my problems with John, they're yours. Right?
Which is such a good philosophy to have, man. I mean, I was just on the phone, believe it or not, with Gary Brugman like a week ago, and he
Yeah.
was talking about how I don't know if I should say, but a member of like a famous band had a problem with Gary Brugman, and Gary was like, "Dude, what's the deal?" And he said, "Well, I don't like this guy who you're friends with, so I couldn't talk to you anymore." And Gary's like, "That has nothing to do with me, man."
Yeah.
So I think that's always the best philosophy. I mean, I always have my friends back if they're, in the right on something, but if there's people I like that Chris doesn't like, right?
And
It's
then and
okay. I mean, who
vice versa.
cares?
And there's people out there that don't like me, and that's just how it
Yeah.
is. But because we're all our same. But I just loved hearing that from you and loved hearing that from how John was with you because that's how it should be. That's how it just we're here to help each other, and he helped you, and but I know you had that spidey sense in the beginning. Wait, and we do that too. I do that too. He's helping me too much. What does he want out of this, man? But then you get down the line and you realize that he didn't want anything but just to be a good mentor, that you're taking it down the line as well. You're sharing that.
That's exactly what he was. And listen, I can't say that his relationship was like that with everybody, but I can absolutely say it was like that with me and Shermichael.
That's awesome.
I can absolutely say that the man always had advice. He always had feedback, and all he wanted us to do was to get further faster. To be honest, he wanted us to get further faster, and it never, not once, had an ask. Not once, not one thing. And yeah, testament to him for that. And I look, and to be honest, I don't even care if we were his mercy mission. If we were his one mercy mission, who cares? I'm humbled and happy to be that because
that's
awesome. People really try to act like they may not care about what other people think or things like that. But when you're passionate about something and you get affirmation, it's a boost. I don't care. Like, negativity is a boost too. It's a different type of boost, but that affirmation though, I feel like that grows legs, grows roots. It can go deep and it can give you that staying power, right? Yeah. Because negative stuff, as soon as you prove your point, you're on to the next thing. Right. But those affirmations you remember and you take with you through the tough times, you take with you when you're trying to grow something. And like I said, it's the roots.
Right. And it allows you positivity. So when you're talking about it like you are now, you're not talking about the person that screwed you over and I had to prove them wrong. You're saying, hey, this is what worked for me and this made me feel good. Let's take it to you. This is what is going to help you become a better person down the line. Both can help you grow, but man, this is going to help you grow and make you a better person in the long run. And it's going to drive people to want to be a better people because it's not based out of negativity. That's what I love. I love seeing that, man.
I think over the last 5 years, I've had a really evolved state of mind and realize how important mindset actually is. Right.
Yeah.
And I there's a lot of my core mindset that I just didn't realize how valuable that way of thinking was at the time, but can look back and be like, man, I'm so glad that I adopted that discipline. Man, I'm so glad that I gave that a shot. I'm so glad I did that for free and learned how to do that. Like all of those things, right? it all comes together, and I feel so capable. And man, I have to say this specifically about firearms, because that's my most recent capability. So I'm so proud of that. I give props to my videographer. My videographer messed up when he told me. He was like, because he knew how green I was as it pertained to all of the different things within the firearm space, specifically training. And he was like, John, running guns is something you can close the learning curve on really, really fast. You can close, if you dedicate the time and you put in the work, you can close the learning curve on that really, really fast. And that's all I needed to hear. So then, I mean, and so I just want to make sure for the audience too, or anybody that's listening, I just want to make sure that they know, like, when I bought my first pistol and rifle in 2020, I didn't conceal carry. I didn't carry my Glock 19X with me anywhere until I took a CCW class.
Sure. Yep.
I got, and then once I took the CCW class, and the funny thing is, I didn't even realize I didn't need it in the state of Virginia, because I'm a veteran, so I'm like, yeah, I could just go get, but I didn't feel comfortable. So I took a CCW class, and then I got the Virginia CCW, and then I was like, you know what, I work in DC, so I'm gonna get the DC CCW. So I got that, so I can also conceal carry in DC. And when I started conceal carrying, I realized that my whole demeanor calmed down a lot. It calmed down a lot, because now I feel like I'm ready for what I didn't even know I wasn't ready for before. Because
But you're not looking for the fight. You're just
without question,
feeling more confident.
without question, not
Yeah.
looking for it. I wasn't looking for it before, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it also had me oblivious that the fight could come
Yeah.
to me, right? I was in a comfort zone that all of these different instances over the years have shown that that's not a place you want to get so comfortable in, right?
Yeah.
You want to have that capability to defend yourself or defend others. And
Yes.
once I started concealed carrying, it just changed my whole perspective on being a gun owner, and and the responsibility that comes along with that. It really did, because I did feel more capable. But then I felt like, okay, I do feel capable. I am available if needed to defend. However, how good am I?
I was going to say, so did you? And I got two more questions.
Yeah, because
and then we're going to let you.
I do have to get going.
I do have to get,
Yeah, I really do.
But I do want to get these in, because this is important. First one. That's where I thought I know you're going that route, and that's why I want you. Now you're carrying concealed. There's a difference between just carrying concealed and knowing how to be a defensive concealed shooter, or a DC. And you have to train for that. And I guess just quickly, if you can, what do you recommend to people that are concealed now? Obviously you're going to say yes. The training, to put the training in to learn how to draw and defend yourself from a concealed position.
Yeah.
How important was that?
Personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. Personally, I would say don't carry concealed until you get at least baseline fundamental training, and you have good gear. And you have good gear. Have good gear, because I personally feel like gear failures in a concealed carry situation is not what you want. Okay.
Seen it. I've seen it, man.
Yeah. And there's so many different choices to make. So yeah, you have to, in my mind, if you're trying to carry concealed, do your research, know what type of holsters you need to get based on the type of clothes that you wear, based on your body size. Make sure you have a good CCW, a good carry gun. Make sure you got the right type of carry gun that you can also conceal, and it will stay concealed. Like, all of these different things, you got to put that into the equation of being a concealed carrying citizen. So yeah, definitely training without question, and definitely make sure you got the right gear.
Well said.
And then also, we don't do a lot. We don't scare people. I don't even watch the news, brother. Sorry, tell Shermichael. Sorry, I don't even watch. I watch.
Oh no, you and me both. So we're in the same boat.
But and I don't think people need to be all panicky with the Second Amendment and all that. But can you give your opinion on what's going on?
Quickly, dude, because I really have to go.
Okay, yeah, quick. Just on the Second Amendment, and just calm people down is what I'm trying to do.
No, absolutely. I'm just telling people, listen, you got to get out there and you have to do your own research. You have to look. There's so many channels out there, so many content creators that are sending positive messages, lending their experiences, ex-military personnel, veterans, law enforcement. There's so many people out here that care, that want to teach you and want you to learn. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. Ask tough questions too. Ask really tough questions, because we're here to answer it. That's just what it is. We're not running away from that. whatsoever, and we're not combative. We want to share the information.
That's right.
Awesome, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have. I thought we were ending at exactly 5, so I have this.
I'm sorry, Ian. I'm sorry.
But no, this
sorry,
has
bro.
been a great episode. We could easily go another hour. We will do another one with you and
Sure.
Michael.
Yeah.
We'll
Oh, yeah,
definitely
that'd
do
be
it.
great.
So follow John personally on Instagram at Mr. J Keys, on Twitter at Mr. J Keys _, and then gunsouttv.com has links to all the social media and of course the YouTube. And as I said earlier, man, the thing that for people unfamiliar, the production value is out of this world. So people really need to check out
Good
what
job.
you're doing. And thanks for being so candid with us. You know, Chris and I know there's some people who come on and they feel like they have a script of what they have to talk about. And you know, I love that you got really deep with us.
Yeah, thank you.
No,
Thanks, bro.
I
That
appreciate
means
you
a
guys,
lot.
man. It's been a great conversation. I'll be back on anytime, man.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Bud.
That's all for this episode of the Battleline podcast, but we'll be back on Monday with more American Straight Talk. Until then, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. To sign up for future Battleline tactical courses, go to www.christantoparanto.net. Believe in yourself, face all challenges head on, and as always, never quit.